Hello, everyone, and welcome to my show, Living Well with Dr. Sheila. I am your host, Sheila Craig Whiteman. I am a health coach, a doctor of physical therapy, an author, and a speaker. My show focuses on anything that has to do with health and wellness. So that could be mental, physical, and spiritual. It has been my passion for years to learn and also educate others on how to live their best life. You can see this show on several streaming channels. We are on Google TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire, and also Roku. And there's also a couple more. And you can also listen if you don't like watching on Chromecast. So today's show, we have a guest, Karen Lorre, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Karen, and then we're going to bring her on into the studio. So Karen helps you to feel and look younger so you can stay healthy and active all your life. We all want that. Yes, especially me. Karen is the best-selling author of 3 books, Chronic Pleasure, Use the Law of Attraction to Transmute Fatigue and Pain into Vibrant Energy, Effortless Enchantment, a memoir of magic, magnetism, and miracles, and Chronic Pleasure in Relationships, Inspire the Best in Men. She has been endorsed by Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Deepak Chopra, Gail Hendricks, and many more. As Deepak Chopra said, Karen Lorre's love radiates to you. You can trust that Karen is the real deal. She embodies chronic pleasure and teaches you to do the same. So let's go ahead and welcome Karen to the studio. Hi, Karen.
Hey, Sheila. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you are quite welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I am so excited to talk about this today. I know I am going to learn quite a bit, and I hope our audience can find a lot of value in our conversation today. So I'm going to start out with a question here. What are the biggest problems that you see that cause people to look and feel older? What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of what I would call nocebos. I don't know if people know what a nocebo is. A nocebo is a negative, just like a placebo is a positive thing that you believe will work for you and it makes you feel better. A nocebo is something negative that comes to you. Could be something someone says, could be something in the news, could be something that you just grew up learning, hearing from the people around you. And nocebos really, they basically make you degrade. Like if a doctor says, oh, you've got 6 months to live, so many people buy into that, and then they have 6 months to live. And so one of the things is nocebos. There's also so many times we get these subconscious belief systems in ourselves that really block us from being able to function in a healthy way. Also, so many people do things like eat a lot of sugar, which actually causes wrinkles, or processed food. And so that's an issue. Some people don't drink enough water. Some people don't want to exercise, don't like to exercise. There's just so many areas that can affect how you feel and how you look. So that's kind of some of them. There's so many more. I mean, it could be anything from, doing a lot of alcohol, doing a lot of drugs, smoking. All those things can aggravate how you look and how you feel. So those are some of the issues.
Yeah, interesting. So how did you start searching for, let's say, the fountain of youth, or searching for answers on how to stay younger?
I had a lot of what I thought were physical problems. I had chronic pain. I had panic attacks. I had narcolepsy. I had PTSD. And I was really struggling to function. I had lost my husband that I loved. I'd lost my career, which I've been an actress for decades. I've done over 1,000 hours of film. And all of that went away because I couldn't function. And I'd been going to psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors, physical therapists, everything, and nothing was actually helping me. And when one day I sort of had an awakening and things started to shift, and I no longer have any pain. That's why I wrote my first book, Chronic Pleasure, because I live in a place of chronic pleasure. I no longer have narcolepsy. I healed that, all aspects of it. There's no sign of it at all. I no longer have any anxiety. I don't even get any stress. And I no longer have any PTSD. All of that was cleared. And I also cleared all these subconscious blocks from sort of traumas that I'd had growing up. And when I did that, my body started to shift and my body started to look and feel younger. And then I noticed when I would be working with clients, they would all look so much more beautiful by the end of the session. And I was like, wow, what is going on? And then that started me on the path of understanding even more how we can influence the way we look and feel through the things you talked about: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual practices that all are fun to do and that really shift us.
Yeah. Did you, because you did talk about your shift, did you have help with your shift, or was it something that you were able to do on your own?
So there's a whole, like my whole background, I studied mind body science in college. Then I became an actress. Then I met Deepak Chopra maybe 27, 28, 29 years ago. Then I met Bruce Lipton about 15 years ago. And so I've had this education, and then I'd been meditating for like 20 something years, 30 years, a long time. And 12 years ago, I got an understanding of stuff. And I actually had to fire my doctors, fire my psychiatrist, fire the psychologist, because they were aggravating everything. I don't think that that's the case for everyone. I think those people actually loved me and wanted to do good by me, but it just wasn't helping. And then I had this spiritual awakening, and I did the rest of it basically on my own because I couldn't function. So I couldn't leave the house. Kind of like I had my own quarantine for a couple of years where I just couldn't leave because I had no energy, and I was so depressed and anxious and all of that stuff. And so I started to work on this just by myself, and everything shifted. So for example, like I used to wear glasses to read, and now I don't need to wear glasses to read. My hair had been thinning, now my hair is thicker. My skin had always been broken out, now my skin is clear. My I had no energy, now I have vibrant energy. I had chronic pain, now I have chronic pleasure. So everything was shifting. My bones even got stronger without me doing any kind of bone density thing. So everything had shifted. And that's when and then I was watching my clients shift. And so it just happened sort of naturally.
Interesting. So you actually are a living testament to your program. Yeah, because if your life shifted, and that is really what you're describing to us is a huge shift. It is actually a shift in almost every aspect of who you were. That changed.
Yeah, and even I sometimes get these things called QEEGs. They're quantitative electroencephalograms that help you look at what's going on with your brain. And I had one 2.5 years ago, and then I got one recently just because I feel so amazing. I thought, what's going on in my brain, right? And the doctor who was showing me the results said that I had gone up maybe 20 to 30 points in attention, focus, processing speed, processing integration, memory, and IQ in the last 2.5 years. And that's something that I can feel it happening. And I just keep getting better and better. And I feel younger and younger. And Sheila, you and I have a mutual friend, Angela Loria, and she says to me, my God, you keep looking younger and younger. And I feel it. I just feel younger and younger.
Wow. Now we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that because that is so interesting. Just really so interesting. But What are three things that we can do, my beloved audience, can do to look and feel younger, and we can start to do that today?
Well, one of the things is look for things that make you feel good emotionally. One of the things science has shown is that our DNA can get, I'm just looking for something, this is my camera cleaner. So let's say your DNA is in a double helix, right? So if what they've shown is that when people are stressed out, their DNA gets very tight. One of the reasons people age is because we aren't making clean copies of the DNA. So the copy gets degraded over time. So what happens when people relax, when they have love in their heart, when they are in a more pacific or tranquil state or calm state, their DNA is less twisted. And so they end up being able to make, this is my theory, make better copies. So the more you find things to do that you like, taking a bath, meditating, going out in nature, petting your cat, being with someone you love, having a great conversation, getting a massage, anything that you can do that helps you be in that state of relaxation, dancing, working out, anything, or relaxation or happiness, focusing on things that you enjoy. That's one thing you can do. Another thing is that, so we're all looking at some kind of screen right now or listening to something. But if you're looking, one of the things that cause the eyes to get problematic is that people focus so much through their eyes that they don't see the periphery. And when you don't see the periphery, that tells your body you're in stress. And it tells your body that you have to focus right now, and there's like it puts you in a little bit of extra stress. So just if you're watching this, allowing yourself to see around you, like I can see my hands, I can see them moving from here while I'm still looking at you guys. That will help your eyes stay relaxed. One of the things that causes people to have eye problems is that stress causes the actual cornea, the shape of the eye, to get distorted. And so just like if you're looking through something that's a distorted lens, it looks different. That's what happens when people get eye issues. And you can even do things like put on glasses, let's say, that are for reading, and then you go outside and don't read anything, look at distances, and train your eyes to stay relaxed when you do that. And that's going to help your eyes learn to be relaxed so that they can be okay. And then the other thing that you can do is learn to recognize those nocebos. So a nocebo might be, oh, when we get older, bones get thinner, or hair goes, you get less hair, or your eyes go bad, or those are all nocebos. And there are a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
they're all over the place. So you can look at nocebos and then recognize that you're getting a nocebo. And I believe that if it's a nocebo, it cannot be the truth. And so I basically recognize that everything that somebody has told me that is negative is not the actual truth. It's not the way, and now I'm going to get a little spiritual here, but it's not the way my spirit perceives things, because my spirit perceives things in a really beautiful way. So recognizing, oh, you might have some belief systems about, oh, when you get older. I remember when I was a kid, they said, when you get older, you're going to get hips. I did not. When you get older, you're going to whatever, all these things that were bad things that would happen once you get older. So recognizing the nocebo, and then recognizing that it can't be the truth, because I'm evidence for myself. So I know for a fact that nocebos are not the truth, but you can just take it from me that they can't be the actual truth, that you can have as many mitochondria, which are the little powerhouse of your cells. Now, I probably have more mitochondria now than I did when I was a teenager. I have more energy now than I did when I was a teenager. I have more physical strength, even though I was a gymnast when I was a teenager. I have more stamina now. I mean, it's just like the number of things that I was told that would get less and less have actually gotten more and more once I shifted some thinking in my head.
Wow, very interesting. So, and I do like what you mentioned about, and I don't know if I'm saying it right, nocebos, because the connotation for aging is usually negative. You very rarely hear positives about aging, and there are a lot of positives about aging. If you talk to people who are older, they don't even want to go back to their younger selves for the most part. So, yeah, I really like that you brought that up and that you made that comment. So that being said, can you give us some stories? Because I'm thinking you have a lot of stories on. I'm getting ready to just turn the camera over to you. That you have a lot of stories on clients and how they have transformed into younger selves, better selves, happier selves. So we would love to hear some of those stories.
Oh, sure. So, yeah, for example, I had this one client, and she came to me because and she was younger than me, but she had some kind of acne that I had not even heard of. It was so bad, and it was leaving like pock marks on her skin. And so she was devastated, and she just did not feel good about herself. And so we worked on that, and literally after our first session, within 3 days, her skin was almost completely clear. Within a week, her whole face had become more symmetrical. This was over Zoom. It's not like I'm doing facials or anything like that. This is over Zoom. And she kept writing me letters like, oh my God, Karen, my face now has the angel shape that I've always wanted it to be. My face is now more symmetrical. Oh my God, my boyfriend can't keep his hands off of me. I mean, it was just hilarious. So that's one person. And then I had this other couple. There was actually a mom and her daughter, and I was working with both of them on something else. We were working on something else, but after even the first session, I said, you guys go look in the mirror. They were both so radiant, and this is what happens with every single person every time. Pretty much, is they look younger and younger. Another one of my clients, he was supposed to have. I've worked with him for like a year. He's kind of devoted because he had really spectacular results, and he was supposed to get dialysis. His kidneys were failing, and they were going to set him up to get the dialysis the week after he started coaching with me. So we start coaching, and then they said, okay, we're going to postpone it. We'll test you again. Postpone it, test you again. It's been a year. He has not had the need to go to get any dialysis. His kidneys have become more rejuvenated. Again, this is over Zoom. I'm not massaging his kidneys or anything like that, but I'm just helping him release some of those unconscious blocks, live in a more healthy way. And so that's another thing. Another client, he had what is called kyphosis, which is where you're hunched over like this.
Right.
And he's handsome, tall, maybe at the time when I saw him, he was like 6'1", something like that. I showed him about how to do postural things and how to strengthen the rhomboids, which are the little muscle between the two scapula. And I showed him how to strengthen that. And he's like texting me like, I can't believe how tall I am. Everybody's acknowledging me. I'm getting so much, acknowledgement and appreciation and compliments on how handsome I am now. So that was really, it's just really fun. And then with the clients that I'm doing this, that I'm teaching about how to let go of the wrinkles and stuff like that. One of them, her husband texted me and said, my wife already looks younger. We've only had 2 sessions. My wife already looks younger. I can't believe it. This was such a great investment. And then another client also, she said that her eyesight is already improving and that her skin is getting smoother already. And then another client said her hair is also getting thicker. My hair has gotten super, super thicker I don't think it's ever been this thick. And so that's something that's happened with me. And now my clients are getting it. I only realized my hair was so much thicker about a couple of weeks ago. I knew it was getting thicker and thicker, but then a couple of weeks ago, when you have a scrunchie to put it in a ponytail, I usually have to do it three ties to make a ponytail. Now I only have to do two. And my Mason brush, I have a brush that's got boar bristles and all that to go through my hair. I used to be able to hit my scalp easily with that brush, and now I can't touch my scalp with my hair is so thick that I can't get the brush to the scalp. So that one's about me. But let me just think. There's a couple other. I mean, there's so many. I mean, everybody gets more beautiful. Oh, another client. This I'll tell you about her. She's in her 70s, and she lives in a remote part of the world and works at like a drugstore, a fancy drugstore. And she wanted to look and feel younger. And so we started working, and she was overweight. She was older. She had wrinkles, she had all that stuff. But what happened is people started telling her how great she was, how beautiful she looked. Everywhere she went, she started getting compliments. People started giving her things for free, giving her acts of service for free. She just became this attractive, magnetic light. Oh, and one more client. She's 92, and I coached her when she's 89. So, but she's 92 now, and she has one of the records of consecutive ping pong. She can do 1,246 consecutive without stopping ping pongs. So I don't know if I can take total credit for that, but I thought that was really cool.
That is cool. Yeah, that is cool. Wow. So do you see most of your coaching clients for feeling younger? Is that the program that you have, or do you do other things? This is just me curious.
Yeah, I do a couple things. So I wrote a book. My third book is called Chronic Pleasure in Relationships. I'll just give you a little show what it looks like. But Chronic Pleasure in Relationships.
Let me put you in
there. That book. So I've been helping people transform their relationships. I actually only started doing this looking and feeling younger thing. So I do that, and I'll tell you, but only because everybody kept saying, "My God, you look so much younger." Then I also help people with just letting go of pain and fatigue. So most people come into my Chronic Pleasure in Relationships because it's mostly for women to inspire the best in men to really learn how to do that. But then they stay to be in this because this helps people let go of all stress, all pain, and to really live in that state of incredible delight and pleasure and joy and happiness and love. So those are the three things I'm teaching. The age reversal, the looking and feeling younger thing just happened because my clients are looking younger. And then every morning, and when I get up, not every morning, but pretty much every morning, I'm like, oh my God, I look even younger today, and so, so that was just that, when you have that overflowing exuberance about something, you just think, oh my God, everyone to know about this so that they can look and feel so much younger. And the thing that I like about it is it seems like it's about vanity, but for me, it's really about how much power do we really have?
Mm-hmm.
And how much can we impact our body? I just tell you one more story is that, so I've been an actress since I was in my 20s, and I was born at the end of 1961. So it's a little while. And I've done over 1,000 hours of television film. I've been on a couple series, it's been fun. But one of the things I recognized was that every single time I played a different character, I looked different. And one time I played pregnant on a soap opera. So it was for like 6 months. I had the same character, and I was wearing a leotard with a pillow, and it was a bigger pillow every couple of weeks or whatever. And so I lived in New York, and it was hard to go out to lunch and take off all your clothes, and then remove the leotard and then remove the pillow. And So I just would leave it on, and people treated me like I was pregnant and, congratulating me. And I stopped saying, no, I'm just an actress, and getting their look of like, what? And then I just started saying thank you, so I'm acting like I'm pregnant. And the wardrobe girl came in to give me a new dress with the bra that I normally wear, and my breasts, it fit around my back, but my breasts were overflowing out of it. And she said, oh my God, you've grown a whole cup size. And I had grown, I'm normally a C, and I had grown to a D cup. And when that happened, she left to go get a better bra. And I was in my dressing room like, oh my God, this is what I studied in college, how the mind affects the body. Wow. And I was just blown away. And then when I had the baby on the show, my breast went back to a C a couple weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, we have so much power. And that's the thing that I love to teach people the most, is how to know that they have power and how to access it and how to be the power that we all came here to be. That's my jam. That's what I like to teach people. But the aging thing is a great start, because, a lot of people like to look and feel younger, and a lot of people are frustrated with, how they're looking. Can I share one more thing? This was actually,
sure.
Before I worked with this girl, she had gotten something injected into here because she had a wrinkle. And the injection, I think it was something supposedly benign, like hyaluronic acid or something like that. And she had an allergic reaction. And she's actually the person who inspired me to ask this divine wisdom that flows through all of us. How can I help her and people like her who are doing things like that to get the result without the toxicity, without the chemicals, or without the injections, to get the same result without the possibility of having inflammation, in fact, having the opposite of that, the deflammation. So with her, she was able to, once she started working with me, she had already done that before I knew her. Once she started working with me, she found out how she could access herself looking younger, and that's now her path of accessing it in this other way that is not, with something that you're injecting into yourself or whatever.
Wow. So how, and I know you you said for a couple of the people that they noticed it after 1-2 sessions or whatever. How long do people stay, or do you have a set time where people stay in that particular program, the one that helps them look younger and feel better?
Well, people will start seeing results if they apply it, if they do what I'm teaching. They'll start seeing results in the first week or two, maybe 3 weeks. And then by the end of the call, or the end of the time, they will have a whole way to continue staying younger, looking and feeling for the whole rest of their life. So it's actually, yeah. So asking the question, you're asking for what now? What else?
So it kind of was, so is the program 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12, 3 months?
Okay. Yeah. The age reversal, although this is really crazy because I keep finding new things that I'm getting benefits from. For example, my nails used to be kind of not as strong, and now they're getting like really strong. So I keep making additional modules, like
Wow, okay.
bonus things, but it's generally supposed to be 8 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm glad I asked that question, because I didn't, even for me, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is 3 months, 6 months, a year, but 8 weeks. Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, you'll start. I mean, if somebody goes to do the course with me, you start looking younger and feeling younger pretty quickly. And then it just keeps adding. And so every week you get more and more clarity about how to do it. And you'll just, not only that, you'll just have a whole arsenal so that you know how to keep the skin on your body healthy, how to keep your organs healthy, how to keep your eyes healthy, how to keep healthier hair, how to look younger, how to have better skin, how to have smoother skin, like it's fun, so it's kind of it's really fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. I mean, I'm sure that there is some work that you have to do. It's not a matter of talking to you and, and my skin rejuvenates. If that is the case, please tell me so I'll call you. Because if it's like that, please. I will be dialing your number as soon as we get off of this call.
There's work, but it only is like maybe 10, 15 minutes a day. It's not long that people need to do it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Really not very interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So, and what? We're at the halfway point. Let's take a quick break for a couple of commercials, and then we will come back and talk with Karen, because maybe we can hear some more stories. Maybe we can hear a little bit more about her program, and then also what we can do, a little bit about what we can do, or why this is not the norm, actually. Because that's actually a good, that just popped up in my mind. Like, why is this not the norm? Like, why can't we rejuvenate whatever those animals are, that even your liver that rejuvenates? Like, we should be able to rejuvenate. And according to Karen, we can somewhat. So let's take a quick break and we will be back.
CG Meals helps you save time with our health-conscious fresh food kits delivered straight to your door. Fast, fresh food ready to eat in just 8 to 10 minutes. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your meal kit today at cgmeals.com.
Do you suffer from bladder leaks? If you have ever leaked a little when you call for exercise, help is available. One in 3 women experience bladder leaks in her lifetime. For a free consultation, visit our website, thepelviccoach.com.
And welcome back, me and Karen Lorre. So I have another question for you, Karen. What are some of the blocks that would stop people from feeling and looking younger?
One of the things that I found is that people are often trained to not trust their body or their future and their immune system and their bones and their brain. So many people are trying to ward off whatever Alzheimer's or things like that. And so that's one of the things that can really get in people's way. And then a lot of times there's childhood traumas. It doesn't have to be childhood. It could be from, adulthood as well, where there's some kind of a deep trauma that hasn't been resolved. Those traumas impact our cells, impact us on a cellular level, even if it's an emotional trauma. And when people don't know how to let those go, that can get in the way. There's also just the fact, like on YouTube, there's all sorts of videos of people. But if you don't know what you're doing, and you're doing a lot of the different YouTube things, some of them are going to be helpful. Some of them could be harmful. Some of them you might be trying to do it and doing it completely wrong. So you don't even know what to do, like in the right thing. And so some of the stuff that I've seen that people do, sorry, I just moved my thing. Some of the things that I've seen people do, if people were to do it, they could actually injure themselves. And that's a way, like sometimes people say, oh, this is a way you can strengthen, you can do something to make your body look better, or your face look better, or whatever. You can actually get injured because people are out there that are doing stuff that it's not necessarily safe and clear. And what I teach, I've made sure it's safe with me before I've ever taught it. And so that's something that's important to me. And I've also found out, like, I know how to really release those kind of subconscious blocks that people have. So that's something that's important to me to do. And another thing that I think a lot of people that can get in the way with people is that they just have never been conscious of their bodies. Like, they're not in their body, they're in their head a lot. And I used to be like that. And it takes a toll on the body. And also another thing is that a lot of times people don't sleep well. Part of the thing that I found, because narcolepsy, which is a thing that I used to have, is where you have awake time in the night and sleep time during the day. It's kind of, things are all goofy. And so I was falling asleep like 20 times a day. And then something happened. I did a spiritual work and emotional stuff, and things shifted. And now I literally sleep. I sleep better than almost anybody I know. I hardly move. I am so quiet and so like sleep. And then I have great dreams, and I fly in my dreams and have great sex in my dreams. It's just great. So like, that's a shift that a lot of people need to see. And then a lot of people aren't even aware of how much chemical and pesticides and sugar and carbs and stuff that they have in their diets. And so part of what I teach is how to be aware if something's processed or not, how to be aware if something would have chemicals or not, like pesticides or GMO or things like that, and how to eat for the microbiome and for the brain. There's ways that you can eat that stimulate the microbiome, which is a part of the it's a big part of the body. Our whole body has more bacteria, viruses, and things like that than we have actual human cells. And the main microbiome is in our digestive tracts. And most people, the way they eat, they basically massacre the healthy bacteria and germs that are in our microbiome. And so part of the thing that I like to help people do is to really understand how to eat in a way that helps both the brain function better and helps that microbiome function better, because that microbiome impacts everything in the body. So those are all key. And also, yeah, I think also one of the biggest things is people have a lot of times they have poor posture. And I'm kind of like, I've become like the posture police. I try to do it in a nice way, but it's just like posture is so key. And when people are older, I'm just going to show you how a lot of people walk, and this stops them from having good energy and good health. And I even have chiropractor friends who walked like this till I harassed them. So they walk like, I'm kind of exaggerating it, but kind of like this, like that, and they aren't actually standing up. And then a lot of people walk this way. Their shoulders are hunched. And like, if you see people running and they're running like this, that means that their shoulders are really forward. And if you bring your shoulders back, I'm also, if you bring your shoulders back, you run, your arms go straight. If your shoulders are strong, your arms go straight. So that's something a lot of people aren't aware of. And I actually think, this is my theory, so it's not scientifically proven, but I think that one of the reasons that a lot of people get hip replacements, so many people get hip replacements. I know so many people. And part of that issue, I think, is because a lot of people are not taught, we're not taught to, this is, let's say the feet, most people walk like this. So they're walking kind of duck-like. And when you walk like that, it's got to put strain on the ankle, the knee, the hip, which then changes the spine, which then changes the shoulders, which then changes the head. All of that stuff it's really important to walk straight, to walk heel to the middle toes, heel, middle toes. and you know that, yeah, from being physical therapy. And so that I think is one of the biggest reasons, this duck thing, that a lot of people get hip replacements, knee pain, ankle pain, foot pain, all that stuff. It seems like it starts right at that thing. And one other thing that people do that gets in their way is, they're on their phone. So their head, let me go this side. That's my pointed ear. Their head is forward, like this, or like,
Right.
and when you do that, you're cutting off blood supply to your brain. You're cutting off the blood supply to your visual cortex, so your eyes won't have as much blood, and you're shrinking you're collapsing your lungs, so your lungs don't have as much capacity to do their natural flexible movement. Your heart gets squished, your digestive organs get squished. It just is not a good thing. And there's so many people, young people, old people, who are walking around, like this, or doing, straining forward like a turtleneck. And all of those things not only make you look older, they actually cause your body harm and can make you feel older or unhealthy.
Right. Yeah. The posture. Yeah. The posture issue is so right on. And that's especially, it used to be, back in the day when I was first doing therapy, we would look at that in people who were older, but now it's almost everybody because of the epidemic with the phones, and younger people are so tied to they're really tied to their phones. They're always looking, they look at their phones constantly. And it does put that, forward flexion and just malaligns the whole upper spine, where they have to consciously try to stretch it out in order to get good posture. So absolutely spot on with that. Spot on. Yeah. So you gave a lot of suggestions and tips. Food, exercise, posture. I know I'm probably missing some because I was just listening so intently. But which one? They're all important. So I'm going to say that first. They're all really important. But which one, if you had to tell someone where to start, which one would you tell them to start with?
Probably with letting go of all stress. That's letting go of all stress and tapping into your actual power. When people know how to do that, you naturally want to stand up straighter. You naturally feel more radiant. You naturally become more energized. And so that, to me, that's kind of how it started for me, where everything shifted because I started to tap into that power that we all have. Every single one of us has within us. And so that to me feels like the best. And then, so like, for example, I haven't had sugar in I think it's almost 9 years. I think in a couple of months, it'll be 9 years. I didn't try to stop eating sugar. But what happened was I was in that state in connection with my own wisdom, my own power, my own clarity, to such a degree that all of a sudden sugar no longer became interesting. And it's not like I'm trying not to eat sugar. I don't feel, and when you're trying not to eat sugar and then you go and everybody's having pie and you're like, what? I'm not doing that. I was just at an event where everybody was having pie and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I don't eat sugar. Like there was no desire. There was no like, I wish I could have just a little bit. That was all gone. It's gone. And I've done that with, other things in my life. There's no effort. And that's part of what happens when you really understand how to shift your consciousness so that you're in that state of chronic pleasure. That's this book. It's really, I think that's the most important thing. And then from that, you're naturally inspired to better food. You're naturally inspired to sitting up better, all that stuff.
Interesting. I think we have. Oh, we have a few minutes left. But this question: do you have anything to provide our listeners today, and anything else you'd like to add? That's a double question, but it has two different things in it. But I'm just
Yeah, you're so sweet. First, I really appreciate you. It's so fun to talk with you, and I love that you know so much about health and well-being as well. So that's awesome, and you're so beautiful. So I love that. I would love to give you guys, any of the people listening, these the digital copies of these 3 books. I'll just show you all 3 of them. Yeah, whatever. So there's 3. This one is the one to help you get your power. This one is a memoir, but it has some good things in it. And this one is the one about relationships. All 3 of those books are at Chronic, CHRONIC, pleasure, PLEASURE, book, BOOK.com. So that's chronicpleasurebook.com. And you can get all of those books for free, the download. I will say what I teach has nothing to do. Somebody said, oh, isn't chronic pleasure a type of marijuana? And I'm like, I had no idea. So if you're listening and you think I'm talking about marijuana, it's not. And it's not CBD either. There's so much more I could teach about this, but it's just, that's why it's an 8-week course, because there's so many things that go on that make people look and feel older, and that I'm working with people to reverse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. It's so you touch a little bit, because we do have a few minutes left. So you did touch on the importance of sleep. And I've actually had several guests on who have talked about the importance of sleep when we're talking about health. So I just want you to talk a little bit about, and a reinforcement of the importance of sleep and the relationship of sleep and good health, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. I'm going to just maybe say something a little controversial though first.
Okay.
Because I can be that way.
Yes.
So when I don't get enough sleep, let's say I'm getting 5 or 6 hours instead of 8 or 9. When I don't get enough sleep, it does not affect me. People say if you don't get enough sleep, this is a nocebo. If you don't get enough sleep, this problem happens, and this problem happens, and this problem happens. It doesn't have to happen that way. That being said, I like to sleep well. Okay, so I just wanted to say, when you get access to that power, doesn't matter whether you sleep well or not, you will start looking and feeling healthier, and you will start being healthier. And then what will probably happen is your sleep will balance out. Every one of my clients' sleep has gotten better on a consistent basis. And that's not even something they come in with as an issue. It's just that that's something that they've, that's something that they've noticed as they were working with me. So even, this is another thing though, this kind of goes with sleep. I had 2 of my clients are males. I may have lots of male clients, but 2 of them and I were all in the same workout group. So we all do a certain kind of workout, and they both had been doing that workout for like at least 1 or 2 years before they met me. Once they started working with me, both of them noticed that their muscles were getting stronger. Their sleep was improving, but their muscles were getting stronger. And what we realized is that stress lowers HGH and testosterone. Mm-hmm. And so human growth hormone, that's what HGH is. When you're in that state where you're accessing your power, where you're in the state of pleasure all the time, your HGH is soaring. And they all were telling me how like their wives were like, oh my God, honey, you're so sexy. Look at your muscles. I've never seen you have muscles like this. And they were like, admiring their bodies in the mirror, like, dang, I look so hot now, and it was really because their inner world shifted and they didn't have that stress. And so now they're able to start activating their natural resources in their body. And HGH is one of the things that helps your body repair at night. So I've done a couple things that, like because I do now sleep amazingly, and I still have a day or two that I might not, my energy is off the charts, and my brain actually improved while I was not sleeping well, though. I will say that it's really interesting because I've heard so many, things about how you've got to have good sleep. So I'm kind of on the fence here because I want to say, yes, you do need it. Good sleep is great. It feels really good. And if you're not getting good sleep, but you know who you are, you're okay. If you know, I mean, by know who you are, I mean, know your power, know your awesomeness. When you know that to the core of your being, you can go to bed at 3, get up at 6, and still feel great and have a wonderful, productive day and still look beautiful and still look radiant. And it's shocking to me. So that is, I apologize for being country. You asked me to kind of support and do that. And I do think
No. And I'll just say that because I think that statement gives those of us who don't always sleep like a brick, and still feel good, because I don't, I sleep, but I don't sleep 100%. No, sometimes I have things on my mind. I'm awake, but you do fall into that trap where, oh my goodness, you wake up and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't get enough sleep. Oh my goodness, this is going to be terrible. Oh, I have ruined my health for the week. And you hear people actually saying things like this. So the fact that you have said something that's a little different, that actually, to me, and probably to other people, is a reassuring statement, as opposed to, if you don't get enough sleep, well, you're doomed. Because you hear that a lot.
Yeah. And really, you're only doomed if you think you're doomed.
Right. Yeah, because that goes back to the whole conversation that we've been having, actually. But that's the thought processes that we've been conditioned to think.
Yes, there's a large plane going overhead.
For you?
Yep.
I don't even hear it.
Oh, wow.
Yep, we don't even hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, as a matter of fact, so I do love that answer to that question. I really do. Because it makes me feel better. And I always, sometimes I tell you, I'm like, it's all about me, really, but it's not. But I just tell people that. I'm like, it's all about me. I have to ask the questions. It's about me. But yeah, not really.
I think you're asking questions that probably a lot of people have. Yeah. When I had narcolepsy and when I believed that my sleep was not good enough, which it wasn't. I was maybe getting 2-3 hours of sleep a night. When they did the sleep study on me, it was ridiculous. Like, I didn't have hardly any. I was like maybe an hour and 20 minutes that I was asleep during the night, and so I was suffering at that time, but I believed a lot of the things they had told me, and I was believing the doctors. That's why I had to cancel, I say I fired my doctors. I love them. I'm still good friends with them. One's coming over for dinner recently or soon. But even though I fired my doctors, everything got healthier. I mean, I got healthier and healthier and healthier and healthier. And then my sleep just became, my energy got consistent, whether I slept good or not. So my energy was consistently high. And people would say to me, oh my God, you're like a party of 3-year-olds. Or I was out to dinner with a friend once and he goes, 9. And I said, 9 what? And he goes, 9 years old. That's your energy, of the energy of a 9-year-old.
Wow. That's a lot of energy.
And that's when I still had the narcolepsy, but I was healing. I was healing everything. And I was already tapped into my power. And it just took that was a narcolepsy. That actually happened. I'll just share with you really quickly. But the reason I think I had narcolepsy is I'd had a concussion when I was about 3. I've had multiple concussions and I never have had any side effects once I got into this state of my power, except that I was having this problem with sleeping. And then one day I was doing some deeper work on myself. And I realized that when I was 3, because I had floated up above my body and I was looking down, I'd had a tricycle accident where the sidewalk went up and I went flying into the tree. It was a big parade of kids on bikes and trikes and all that stuff. And I was catching up, and so I went into the tree and I didn't remember anything except for that first flight. which I actually liked that part of the flying part. But anyway, so I didn't remember that. And then I remembered in this work I was doing, this deeper work with myself, my spirit was, or me, or some aspect of me was up above, and I could see my parents. I was stretched out on the couch. I was like 5, 4, 3, something little. And the doctor was saying, you have to wake her up every hour or she could die. And I remember my little brain going, oh, I have to wake up every hour or I could die. And it had this belief, and I was not ever conscious of it. And then I just realized a couple years ago, oh, that's what's stopping me. And boom, then I started sleeping. So I had also done other stuff, but that was like the last bit that had gotten in the way. And so, yeah. And so it was me hearing that doctor, who was my doctor. I loved him, Dr. Bouch. She was still my doctor till I graduated high school. And he was a sweet guy, but he was, saying what he believed to be true. And it probably was true at the time. I don't know. But my little brain heard it as if it was true forever.
Wow. Isn't that, yeah. And logically, you could see how that could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes
you really could. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes total sense once you see it, but no doctor ever looked at that. No psychiatrist ever looked at that. No sleep study guy ever looked at that.
Right.
They're looking at things on a physical level. And physical is important. It's a combo, but there's a huge level that goes way beyond physical. Right.
And they do diagnoses and differential diagnoses from what they learn in school.
Right.
So, yeah.
And when I was pre-med, the book, one of the main books that we were told to get was something called the Merck Manual. I didn't know that Merck was a big pharmaceutical company, but when I later learned, I was like, oh, this is basically a very expensive, very thick advertising brochure that says, oh, if you have this problem, give this Merck drug. If you have this problem, give this Merck. And when you go to a doctor, if you're in their office, there's almost always, like if they have a bookshelf, Merck manuals all over the bookshelf. Yeah. They're trained, I was trained to think of medicine as a solution.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I might still have a Merck manual on my bookshelf. I still might have one.
Yeah.
Because, they put out new editions frequently.
Right.
So, they keep putting out the new one. So, and I remember throwing some out because I'm like, oh my goodness, enough. Because I'm not a big medicine person, but so I started getting rid of stuff like that. But I might still have one because heaven knows I've been out there a long time. So there could be one still lurking around in the offices somewhere.
Yeah,
it really could.
And it's just like, medicines are. I don't think there's anything wrong with medicines when you need a medicine.
Not at all.
But there's so much power. Since I have been in the state in the last 6 years or 12 years, no, 6, I've been in the state for 12 years, but I'd say in the last, I think it's 7 or 8 years, a while, I've not had one cough, not one sore throat, not one headache, nothing. Nothing.
That's great. I have to, because we have a little clock here on the side. I don't know if you can see it. Our time is up. That is just how interesting this conversation was. We are down to seconds before we will get cut off. So I wanted, and I think Karen is going to come back. I have asked her to come back because she has so much knowledge and she has so much that she can really share with us that I hope I find really interesting, and I'm hoping that you do too. So I'm going to close out now those before they close me out. They'll close me out. So thank you so much for joining Karen and I on Living Well with Dr. Sheila. And remember, every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific time, you can find the show. You all